Scale of 1 to 5, tell me, tell each other, do you think that you are very, very familiar with your target audience on a scale of 1 to 5? 1 being, I don't even know who that is. 5 being, I have that on lock and I know exactly who I am selling to or going to sell to. I see 3, I see 2. Okay, I see 5. Trinity, all right, awesome. I see 3 again. Okay, so the average is like a 3 or a 2.5. Okay, so no idea where to start. Great. So, Trinity, are you able to unmute yourself? If you are, please tell us or describe to us at a high level as
Hello?
much as you can. Yes, hi. Describe to us as much as you can. Who is your target audience?
My specific target audience would be people mainly interested in grunge, esoteric pieces, people that are not afraid to be uncomfortable in art.
Okay, what else?
That's pretty much it. I
Okay.
think so far I can see clearly who would be
Mhm.
interested in what I have to offer, and
Mhm.
I think I'm here to learn pretty much how best to market towards them and how to name my price and all of the
Okay,
things that I need.
good. So, how do they find you?
Mainly social media.
Mhm. And what is some of the feedback that you tend to get on your pieces, particularly from people who are buying?
Usually, I'd say maybe unique,
Mm-hmm.
unseen,
Mm-hmm.
but that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Someone who was a 3, Ashley or Ryan, can you unmute either of you or both of you and describe who your target audience is?
Okay, hello everyone. My target audience, since I'm in the middle of it,
Mm-hmm.
are people that are art collectors, um, that love unique, one of a kind artwork, that have disposable income, so they're like
Mm-hmm.
35 and above.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they can also be tourists, or even for my on the other side of the spectrum for my books, it would be people of the African diaspora who are into comics and manga that would display more African centric characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Ryan?
Oh, yes, good evening. I think
Good
mainly my
evening.
would be Bahamians who like to preserve their culture and appreciate their culture, and art enthusiasts as well. So maybe I guess around similar age to me, or like 30, 40, 50,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's kind of the initial layout.
Okay, good. So you guys have a very, very, you have a good start for those of you who rated yourself 5 and 3. Now, what I'm going to challenge you to do is go deeper, right? Go deeper into the mind of your client, or if you don't have a particular client in mind, think about who is the ideal person that would love your pieces, appreciate your pieces, brag about your pieces, keep coming back and buying your pieces, whether it's on commission or they get your limited editions or whatever it is. Repeat customers. Let's go deeper. So yes, let me see if I can pull up this screenshot that I want you to look at. Okay. making it bigger. So what this is going to do is it will show you how your value proposition and your customer profile work together. So remember, we spoke about your business model canvas, right? And we spoke about the fact that your business model is literally how your business makes money: the who, the what, the why, the how. So you also in that need to be able to articulate your value proposition. What makes you unique? What makes your art unique? What makes your brand unique? What about your products and services that should make people buy from you? What is a pain point that your art is solving, whatever type of art that you do? What are your customers gaining from buying your art? Now, I know the question might be, well, I mean, art is one of those disposable income. It's not solving world hunger or world peace, right? But every single thing that we purchase is meeting a need. And so you need to identify for your customers, what are their pain points? What are some of the gains and the benefits that they want in life? And then how can you tie that to art? Okay. So, anyone care to kind of brainstorm? You can put in the chat. What is a pain point for your customer? Just one. And I can share. Well, no, you'll see. I will show you that I created a ideal client avatar for my floral business. And I'll show you what that can look like, because you definitely need to create an ideal client avatar, or it's called here a customer profile. So Ashley said belonging. Okay, that is a pain point for them. What else? While I wait for you guys, one of the pain points for my clientele is they don't want to look like everyone else. That's literally what it is. Stand out, be different. It's your wedding day. Why you look like everyone else with your flowers? Okay, Ryan said the lack of Bahamian greeting cards. Yes. I love your greeting cards, by the way. I got a few of them before. Ashley said representation. Yes. Okay, good. Anyone else? What is a pain point for your business? Or rather, what is a pain point that your business is addressing, right? And I don't want it to just be what is a pain point that your art is addressing, because you are a business. So make sure you're thinking about it from the standpoint of you are a holistic business, not just that you create art. So, what is a pain point that your business is solving? And then, as you're thinking about that, what is a benefit? What is a gain that your customer gets from patronizing your business? Okay, Cindy said relatability. Okay. What is a benefit that your clients get from buying from you? Convenience, quality. Okay, good. Mhm. This might be a controversial question as we are talking, right? Do you think that art should be affordable? Okay, Ryan said a way to express themselves to others. Good. Do you think that art should be affordable? Whatever your version of affordable is. Adrian said bringing their vision to life. Okay. Okay. You agree that art should be affordable. Interesting. Anyone else? It depends on the art and the artist's intention for the art. Okay. Ashley says yes. Interesting. So let me say, is it that art should be affordable or it should be accessible? Because I think those can be two different things, right? Trinity says the ability to own a Bahamian piece that matches an aesthetic rarely seen over here. Okay, I assume that's a benefit. Now, why I'm saying that, I'm wondering if art should be affordable or if it should be accessible, meaning that you can go in a museum and you can have access to art, to see art, to experience art. And that's different from everyone should be able to purchase or own a piece of art, hence the affordability. I was just curious, questions to ask while I have you guys here, because I'm always, I am very interested in pricing, right? So I'm always thinking about, for example, you have to think about would your clientele care if your art is affordable or not. There are some people who they would be turned off by the idea of any and everyone owning a piece that they own. Okay, Trinity says art can't always be affordable, but should always be accessible. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. So, as you go through your business model and as you think about who your customer is, also think about their psychographics. So go beyond their age range, their job, go beyond what they do for work, go beyond where they live, where they shop, what their interests are. Also get into their psychographics. What drives them? What are their goals? What are their pain points in life? What are their challenges? What would they love for someone to come in and solve? Okay, you have to get into the psychological part as a business owner. You have to get into the psychological part of your clientele because it goes so much deeper than that. We all know what drives us. We know the things that we consider when we're buying something. We know that sometimes we think about, okay, is it budget? Do I have the budget right now? I know there's things coming up that I have to pay for. We have like this whole monologue that we have in our minds. And then there are some people who are like, money is no object. I see it, I want it, you know? I remember one time I used to freelance in a flower shop, and this lady came in, she's wealthy, and she was just like, listen, I just want a really beautiful arrangement. And I said, okay, what is your budget? What I asked that for, because she was so offended. She said, am I poor? Just make it nice. She was genuinely offended that I asked her if she had a budget. There are people like that. Okay? So is your art for those types of people? Is your art for, the mid-tier? Is your art for, I don't know if art and budget go together, but is your art affordable? I'll use that word, right? So let me show you guys what I mean by getting into the demographic and the psychographic. So I'll stop sharing my screen. So what I'm going to show you next is an ideal client avatar that I built out for my floral business, like I said before. And I went into great detail. And the reason why I did that is because I needed to know who I was talking to, who I was marketing to, who I was writing the social media captions for. So as you can see, and hopefully you guys can see the screen clearly, if you cannot, unmute yourself and tell me you can't see, because I can't see the chat right now. Okay, so I literally had photos. These are the types of women that I serve. They are between the age of 28 and 48. They're engaged. They may or may not have children. They make a certain amount of money plus per year. They're both Bahamian and destination wedding brides. So, who am I talking to immediately? Do you see any photos of men? Absolutely not. I am talking to women. I am selling to women. Women tend to be the ones who care more about the details. In my experience, I'm not saying that all men are like that, but women tend to care more about the details about the wedding planning, right? So these are professional women. They're entrepreneurs. They're creatives. They're influencers. I have bio. They enjoy a touch of luxury. They enjoy experiences. They love to travel. They like to mix high and medium low end brands together. They like to splurge on the things that they find important. They use social media for business and or casual scrolling. They do not have a lot of time because of their occupation and because of all the things that they do. They live a full life. They work. They may be going to school. They have a social calendar. They have a family. They have their own sense of style. Um, they usually look well put together. Okay, even if the outfit is simple, they look well put together. They can go from I want to keep it simple to on their wedding day, I want to go all out because it is my one wedding day. And so then I go into what are their goals and their needs? What are they trying to achieve? What is important to them? They work hard and they want help hitting their goals. They want more time freedom. They don't want a long, drawn out engagement period. It's important that their wedding day is beautiful and stress free. What is the ideal experience when it comes to my business and them working with me? One, the flowers arrive on time. Two, they might get a sweet surprise, right? Um, I used to do, depending on how much they spend with me, I would give like some little gift or token, right? And then I switched to just writing a handwritten note of well wishes for the day. They want to feel beautiful on their day. They want to fall in love with their wedding photos. And I promise y'all, falling in love with your wedding photos includes your flowers, okay? Because everything could look perfect, but if the bouquet was not hidden or the wedding flowers don't look nice, I promise you, a lot of people will not post their photos for that reason. Pain points, what frustrates them? Wedding planning is frustrating. They don't have enough time in the day during the planning process, plus life, so they feel anxious and overwhelmed. Anyone care to stop me and ask me why I went into so much detail? Okay,
Um,
guess not. Okay, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
my only question would be that how long did it take you to actually come up with all of this information? Like,
Mom, whatever time it takes. Whatever time it takes. See, I also had a bit of an advantage because before I started doing this under my own business, I was doing flowers for years. And so I was able to figure out the types of people specifically that I wanted to sell to. So I didn't build this based off of um, in theory, but I have built ideal client avatars off of theory until I could prove whether or not my theories were right. Does that make sense?
yes, it makes a lot of sense to me because that's like what I'm in the
Hmm.
process of doing. Like really
Okay,
getting
good.
out there, getting more involved with the art space
Hmm. Hmm.
and learning people.
Okay. So I'll
Shauna,
go
do you
more
mind
into
if
that.
I chime in as well there?
Sure, yeah. Hmm.
I believe the question was, how do you get to know all of this information about your clients? Did I hear it correctly? Was that the question?
Can you
Oh boy, is my,
can you
my
confirm that
internet's
that
messed up?
was the
I guess basically that was it.
Yeah, only
okay?
thing I would
Mhm.
add in addition to what Shauna mentioned, um, let's assume you're doing this from scratch, first time ever. You don't have any clients to know what their habits are. Shauna, you may want to talk through some of the more
Yes.
just textbook tools like the focus groups, the surveys,
Mhm.
those types of things.
Mhm.
Because if you're really starting from scratch, you're going to have to build that database
Mhm.
of feedback from scratch.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. So I will go into that as soon as I'm done with this. Okay, so technology sources, where do they get their information from? Where do they spend so much time online? Their bridal style, right? What are their favorite brands? How can I be high end from start to finish? And the reason why I asked myself that question and I mapped it out is because I am not positioning myself as a budget florist or a designer. By Shana E, which is the name of the business, and budget don't go together. And I wanted to make that very clear. And that is why you can see, as far as the styling and who I go after, etc. Right? So I would encourage you as we go through this, and I will provide a checklist for you as a resource. It's something that I've used in the past. Go through the checklist and then start to answer these questions. Now, let's get into if you are starting from scratch. One of the best things to do is talk to people. I know sometimes we have a thing in our culture that we don't like to expose our ideas or we don't like to talk about what it is that you're doing. But the reality is that you need feedback at all stages of your business, whether you've been in it for 20 years or if you just started in the last 6 months, you have to get feedback. And then you need to be thinking about, okay, how can I get this feedback? Where can I get this feedback? If you're talking about, you want people to buy your art, don't just go and talk to your friends and your family who do not buy art, who know nothing about art. You have to be a bit more strategic about who you are rubbing shoulders with and who you're having conversations with. So go to art shows as an example. This is networking. Go to art shows, go to places where creatives will be, go to places where artists will be. As far as even if you are thinking about, oh gosh, how should I price something? Well, go to an art gallery. A lot of times, those pieces of art on the walls and those installations, they have their prices up. It's probably one of the only industries when it comes to creativity, or not industry, it's the only place when it comes to creativity that another artist could clearly see another artist's prices. So when you're going out there to network, be thinking about, for example, um, how can you ask questions? How can you kind of pick people's brains? How can you pick up information and tips? Sometimes you could ask questions outright. You know, in my experience, most people are very gracious, especially when you are gracious towards them and you show gratitude and you appreciate their work, or especially if you know them. Like it could be an art showing, for example, and there's an artist there that you know, or you get to specifically speak to the artist themselves. It is a great way for you to connect, but also for you to find out information. Another thing to be mindful of as well is, especially if you are selling already, I don't care if you're selling one piece every 6 months, whatever it is, literally write down as much information as you can about the person. So if you've met the person, for example, you could say, okay, this lady she seems to be in her 50s. She made comments about the fact that she thinks my art would look really good in her living room. When she pulled up, she was driving this particular type of car, and I know it might sound a bit stalkerish, maybe, but the reality is you need intel. And so then you can start to see like these patterns that are running through the information so that you get an idea of who are the people who seem to be finding me, who seem to be reaching out. If you're going and selling your art at pop-up events, for example. Look around at the audience who is coming to these types of events, who is stopping and engaging you at your booth or your display or your exhibition, and who is actually purchasing. And as you have conversation with people, then you also get to have an understanding of, okay, well, why are they, because people are chatty, people can be chatty. Why are they looking for art? Why, like, what caught their attention with this piece? Or why did they reach out to me? Does this make sense to anyone so far?
It makes a lot of sense. I'm taking notes.
It does.
Okay, good, good. Um, yes, so that is one of the ways that I was able to kind of gather all of that information. It took time. I'm not going to lie to you and sit down and say that you should be able to, in a couple of hours, write out a really detailed ideal client avatar. What I want you to do is, okay, great question, Adrian. What I want you to do is be detailed as you go through this process. Who is buying from you? How frequently they're buying from you? Are you getting repeat customers? And then as you start to get this information together, I want you to think about, okay, I seem to be attracting these types of people. Do I want to attract these types of people? Are they the type of people that I want to purchase my art? Are they the types of people that I want as repeat customers? And you could say no, you could say yes. There's no right or wrong answer, right? So, you, for example, let's go with Ryan, with you for your greeting cards. You may find that people are buying your greeting cards, and repeatedly you are getting comments saying, "Oh, I think these are lovely. I would definitely pay more for these." Now, these are people who you're selling to. And then you could be like, I like these people. They're telling me I need to charge. Or you might be getting people who are saying, man, it's a lot for a greeting card. But anyway, I like it. So I like it, so I could buy it. Do you want those types of people who will suck their teeth and pay? Now, mind you, the point may be they paid, right? But are you attracting the types of people that you want? So Adrian said, "How did you stand on your pricing when you were first starting?" Oh, I love that question. Now let me wrap up. Getting intel for your business. Davinia mentioned focus groups. As an artist, you can approach that in different ways, right? So you can show photos of your work for critique. But again, who are you going to? You going to the person who they never believe in your vision for you as an artist, but you asking them opinions? Absolutely not. Do you have a mentor? Do you have a trusted group of persons who are art collectors who have some appreciation for what it is that you do? Yes, then you can speak to them and you can ask for feedback. You can say, hey, would you use this? I don't have my culture wear mug in front of me, but would you use or purchase this mug for whatever it is? Would you hang this art piece up in your office? Where would you put this in, after you buy it? What are you going to do with it? Would you gift this to someone? You can ask very direct questions. If you want, you can have formal focus groups. I don't think a lot of people tend to do that. But the point is, you need to have feedback mechanisms. And as people buy from you, try to, one, get testimonials, and two, ask for their feedback. So that could be as simple as you getting their contact details, like an email, and then you follow up with them. This is also where, depending on who it is that you are targeting, they like that personal touch. They like that you followed up after they made that purchase. They like that you wanted to get feedback. Okay? some people will respond, and they will respond favorably, and that's how you can get a testimonial. That's how you can also get feedback